Hello, my friends. It is Justin with Sillage Scents, and today I have 10 perfect fall fragrances. These are scents that just work so well. All of them are just gorgeous. I mean, some of them lean spicy, some of them are a little sweet, some of them are kind of dry, but they just give you that, fall earthy goodness. So we're going to go ahead and get into this, but as we do, please consider giving a perfect click to the like button if you get something out of this video. Also, let me know down in the comments what would be your perfect fall fragrance. And finally, consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done that yet. We'd love to have you join us on this fragrance journey. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. First up, this is a new pickup for me because Fragrance Buy had this fragrance for, I think it was $62 for a tester. I've had my eye on it for a while. It's usually more in that $80, $90 range. This is Spice Bomb Infrared EDT. Now, I know that there is an EDP now. The EDP has some differences. I haven't tried it yet, but what I can tell you about this one is if you like the original Spice Bomb, but you want something a little different. Extreme is, it's sweeter. It's just maybe I don't know if louder is the right word, but it's quite different. This one is not as different. It's pretty similar to the original, but the red kind of branding is there for a reason because there are some red fruits in this. There's something that almost will remind you of like a strawberry or a berry, maybe some red apple. There's some sweet fruitiness in the opening. And then you go down into that woody spice bomb base, pepper and nutmeg and tobacco, of course. But there's also a little bit of powderiness in this one, which I wasn't expecting. That makes it, again, quite different than the original. But the heart is Spice Bomb without some of the changes that some of the other flankers have. It's a great pickup, works perfectly for fall. I've got an even mix of clones and designers in this video. So next up, we've got a clone. And most of these would work well for winter also, but there's something about each of these that makes me think fall. This one, the cinnamon. Cinnamon's one of my favorite notes. This one features a prominent cinnamon. It's a clone of By Kilian's Angel Share. This is Fragrance World Cocktail Intense. The price on this one has really dropped recently. I think I got this for right around $32, something like that, on Amazon, surprisingly, with free shipping. And this one is much closer to Angel Share than Lattafa Camra, which is the one that I had for the longest. I've had that, I think, for over a year. This one is not as sweet as Camra. It doesn't have that touch of Middle Eastern oudiness, a little bit of funk that's in Camra. This one is not quite as marshmallowy sweet, but it is actually closer to Angel Share. It's still got some booziness. It's still got a heavy dose of sweetness, vanilla and amber, but the cinnamon is ramped up, again, as compared to Camra. That's one that's gotten a lot of hype that a lot of people have. Actual Angel Share, whenever I wore it, I was surprised because I got Camra before I smelled original Angel Share. It was less sweet and it had an overdose of cinnamon. And this one, for those two reasons, for me, is a better clone of Angel Share for sure. And I am really enjoying this one. It's great for the fall and the price is really right now. Okay, next up, we're going to go with one that is inspired by a very popular spicy vanilla patchouli fragrance. You probably know I'm talking about YSL Tuxedo. This one is not a clone brand. It's a designer brand, Rochas, who makes some awesome low-cost fragrances. This one is Moustache. And it's basically that, dry, somewhat green kind of patchouli with some sweet vanilla and some cinnamon and I think cardamom, some spiciness as well. It's just a beautiful, not overly sweet, to me, this is like the perfect suit fragrance. You're going somewhere, maybe in the fall or even in the winter, you want to dress it up a little, but still have something that's enjoyable and even a little bit on the playful side. This one, Moustache, is going to get you there. If you like Tuxedo, you will certainly like this one. And you can get I think that's a 2.5-ounce bottle, which you can get, I think, for still around $40, which is awesome. Okay, next we'll go with a actual clone fragrance from Fragrance World. This is the first Fragrance World clone that I bought. This is Starman Nebula, and it's a clone, of course, of Mugler's Pure Malt, and it is gorgeous. It's got some similarities to the original Amen, but it's also got a booziness, and it's got some barbershop kind of qualities that I really enjoy. And again, it's got a lot of cinnamon. I actually need to wear this tomorrow. Now that I smelled it, it's been a few weeks since I've worn it. So to me, let me know in the comments, does anybody else get a little bit of a barbershop vibe from this fragrance? I do, and that's one of the things I love about it. And it's got that wonderful cinnamon and that sweetness and aromatic, pop from the original Amen. Highly recommended, especially if you like Pure Malt, which is now discontinued. Eating my mustache a little bit. All right, this one is discontinued, but you can still get it pretty much all over the place for a good price. It's been probably a few weeks since I looked, but it's still in that $70 to $80 price range, which is a good price. This is 1 Million Lucky. And this one opens up with this bright, sweet grapefruit. There's a good bit of sweetness. There's a good bit of tartness off the top, but then it goes down into a somewhat ozonic, somewhat nutty kind of feel. It's got, I think it's hazelnut. I could be wrong about that. Hazelnut or chestnut. I believe it's hazelnut. And it's got a little bit of an ozonic quality. So it's not as sweet as most of the 1 Million flankers are, but it's got that nutty quality, which to me makes me kind of think of fall. Think like chestnuts roasting on an open fire kind of vibe. This is kind of an all year round fragrance. I wore it a little in the summer. I wore it a lot in the spring, a couple years. And I think that now that the fall is here, I'm going to break it back out again because this one is perfect for this kind of weather. Okay, next up, we're going to go with another clone. This one is a strong fragrance. It's a great clone, and it's a pretty inexpensive clone. If you can find it on online discounters, it's in that low $30 range. It's a clone of Stronger With You Absolutely. This is Fragrance World Proud of You Absolute. And this, to me, basically smells like Stronger With You with a boozy quality. There are some other differences as well with like the spicy profile and the sweetness is a little bit different, but it's basically Stronger With You with a boozy note. It's got similarities to things like Azzaro, the Most Wanted Parfum. It's that kind of sweet, gourmand leaning, slightly nutty, vanillic, rich, warm, ambery fragrance, but this one's got a little bit of booze and it is awesome. And this is like, at least an 8-hour fragrance, but probably more like 10+ hour fragrance on me. It's gotten stronger the longer that it's set on my shelf. Proud of You Absolute by Fragrance World. Okay, we're going to go with now another designer. This one is a modern classic, and it's a fragrance that has influenced, countless designers. There's been many clones, even some niche fragrances that have kind of grabbed this fragrance profile. This is the original, though, Paco Rabanne Invictus. Don't sleep on Invictus. If you don't own this, let me tell you, this is still one of the best-selling men's colognes. It's still something that people wear. And I probably have complimented more people who were wearing this than probably any other fragrance. In the air, there's an aromatic quality about this one that smells different than it does if you put your nose up to skin. I compliment people regularly and they say they're wearing Invictus. And I'm like, that's crazy. I never would have guessed. Sometimes I would have guessed it. But this one, it's interesting. It's got that bubblegum sweetness. It's got that ambergris, but there is also some clary sage. There's a little bit of an aromatic vibe as well. Beautiful fragrance. There's a reason that everybody has done their Invictus style fragrance. Still a great pickup and perfect for the fall. It's got enough sweetness to cut through some cold, but it's fresh enough that it's not going to, overpower you in the warm afternoon. All right. This one's another clone. It's another clone of a Tom Ford fragrance. Actually, this video, I don't think I've had a Tom Ford clone yet, but this is a clone of Oud Wood, and this is Fragrance World's Oud Wonder. And this one on Amazon, you can usually get for less than $25, and I will tell you, it's an excellent clone of Oud Wood. There's something very clean about Oud Wood to me. There's definitely something green, somewhat piney. There's obviously a very strong woody vibe, and there's a little bit of a fuzzy oud that is in the fragrance, but it's just sort of like an, every time, anywhere kind of fragrance. I probably wouldn't wear it in the heat of summer, but it's so classy, it's so wearable, it's not funky or animalic, it's not going to gross you out. It's just this sort of very woody, somewhat fresh and clean, beautiful oud fragrance. Oud Wonder by Fragrance World. Okay, we're going to hit another designer. This one to me is Fall in a Bottle. This is one of the fragrances, like I would say Fahrenheit Le Parfum would be a fragrance like this. It's just when you think of what does fall smell like, fall smells like John Varvatos Vintage. It is a aromatic fougere with a little bit of an old school vibe. It's got some leather, there's some cinnamon, there's a rhubarb note. I think there's even a tobacco note. So it's got some sort of, it's not overly sweet. It's got a little bit of a dry kind of feel with some sweeter notes and some spicy notes that pop out of that leathery aromatic background. Very cool fragrance, and it might bring you back to the 1990s if you have nostalgia for any of those fragrances, but it's been modernized so that it still works today. I ran into a friend a couple days ago who was wearing John Varvatos Vintage. I complimented somebody at church several months ago who was wearing John Varvatos Vintage. So it's not, don't get me wrong, that it's going to make you smell like the 1980s, but it will be reminiscent in the same way something like Dior Sauvage Elixir is reminiscent, although this one doesn't smell like that. So that's been 10. These are perfect for the fall. No, actually, that was just 9. I've got one more that's perfect for the fall. I don't want to forget this one because I think BR540, especially the X Straight, I think fall is kind of the perfect time for this fragrance, although I've kind of wore the original BR540 summer, spring, X Straight and its clones in the cooler weather. This one's beautiful for the fall, and I think it's the best clone of BR540 X Straight, all Haramain Amber Oud Ruby Edition. They have one that's a clone of just original BR540, but this one's got that almond accord. So it's, someone was asking me the other day, how do you describe this? Because they never smelled BR540. I don't know how you describe it. It's transparent, it's airy, it's got a little bit of sweetness, significant sweetness that some people will call cotton candy sweetness, but there's also like this ambergris richness and texture. There's saffron. There's a lot going on, but it's transparent. And the X Straight version has this thickness and this weight that I think makes it fit much better fall, winter than in the warmer months. So awesome clone, beast mode performer, 12, 14-hour performer. 4 sprays is all you need, and you'll get whiffs of it all day if you don't go nose blind to this fragrance profile. And it is a killer performer, lots of projection. You'll leave a scent trail everywhere that you go. Highly, highly recommended. So that has been 10 epic fall fragrances. Let me know what you think, and let me know what you would add down in the comments. Go ahead and give the like button a perfect click and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. I'm Justin. This is Sillage Scents. I'll see you on the next video.